Hi everyone, thanks for having me. So actually I didn't come for the pizza but for the office. I wanted to check it out. So I'm Alex, nice to meet you all. Before I start, I'm stressed. It's not exactly my first time, but let's pretend it is. So I didn't want to leave Jeremy like that. So what I did is I checked out his repo, and we are going to challenge what it said. So he said that it was working.
If it's not, I'm gonna kill myself like now.
No, actually, I just want to hear odor. Let's try.
The problem is Xcode. I don't know. It's always
Do you hear the drum? Come on. Hey. Yeah, it's correct. Something is weird. That's good?
still loading.
Yeah. 60, 70, 90.
You're gonna kill me.
No. Come on.
Does this help?
Nice. Cool.
Yes.
Okay, well done. All right. Can move away. So actually, unless I miss something, the only thing that maybe because of the pressure. No, that's not the one. That's the one. No, it's not. That's the M. So I'm not a native at all. Like usually, I always stay very far from native. But actually, it's just this thing. I don't really know, like export module. It's always there. And when you want to export a method, you use this one.
I think I've moved it too.
You did?
I'll check that later.
All right. But actually, I've learned a lot using that. So thanks for that. I might actually try to do a native component now. All right. So let's start. Yeah. How does that work? Yeah. Alright, so tonight I'm going to cover React Native for web. So React Native for web is a very new initiative. It's been introduced just in February this year. And before I actually dig in, I'm going to say a few words about me. I'm Alex Girard. I work here in CNS since 4 years now, and I actually co-found and I'm the CTO of Style Atlas. Style Atlas is building a fashion fitting solution for online shoppers. So not only we want to get some information like Facebook does, but we want to get your body information. We are very creepy. No, we are not. Okay, so basically we want to do that because we want to help you to purchase items that will fit you. And we need obviously to get your measurements. That's one thing. So what we do at Style Atlas, we do a lot of JavaScript, a lot, everywhere. We use Node.js, we use React, we use Meteor.js, some very nice functionalities around ES6, ES7. So at some point we will hire, so you can reach out for me. Thanks. And you can follow me on Twitter. Sometimes I say some interesting stuff. All right. Let's go. So, React Native, it's great. And actually, we'll have confidence to make. I started React just in December last year, so like 6 months ago. And I haven't started with React. I actually started with React Native because I wanted to do a cross-platform application. I used to know Cordova, PhoneGap, but I figure that what the hell, let's try another thing. And actually, maybe, yeah, like this. That was me. And actually, the reason why I moved toward React Native, it's not only because it's robust, the community is large, but also obviously because of the performance. So, React Native for web was kind of an interesting transition for me, because I could still use my React Native knowledge, but actually build a web app with that. And the reason why you can do that is because React Native for web actually provides the same blocks and touch handling component than React Native. And also it provides all this nice abstraction. You really don't care about your first component, you just use them straight away, okay? So there is no HTML, no CSS, you are purely using React Native. And finally, you have this nice thing out of the box, modules, CSS modules, sort of modules. So no more, I mean, I've never been much of a designer, and I was always inside a spaghetti CSS code. So no longer, no thanks. All right, so let's have a look. Now, what are we looking at? It seems to be like the getting started of a React Native project. Same thing, except that I've added an image. But it's actually not inside your mobile. I mean, it is, but inside the browsers. Okay, so this is running on my machine. And this is kind of exactly doesn't work. So let's say it's exactly what you will get on mobile. And here, everyone here should understand, I mean, as long as you have some React Native understanding, or just React actually, you should already understand the syntax. All right, so this is what you get actually. Behind the scene, what's happening there, it's you get this weird and something you don't really want to get your hands on, CSS and HTML. Why do you get this thing? It's because here you can already have a glimpse to the CSS, and this is atomic CSS. So React Native for web uses some node package to actually build for each CSS line a class. Okay? So I must say I have started to use React Native for web a few weeks ago. So I don't know in terms of performances how much it will be of a big deal. Because so far I've been told it was better to have 2 or 3 classes. But maybe it's not a matter of performances for the browser, but more for us, human beings. How can we handle more than 2 or 3 classes? That's already a lot. So the only thing I can guarantee you is whether you have a small app or a big app, you will end up with a very tiny CSS file, like a few kilooctets. The reason it's because it's like any languages, you use 20% of CSS will cover 80% of your needs. So you will end up with a rather fixed number of classes. But that's not great to work like this. So thanks to the React dev environment, the tool suite, you can actually appreciate the React Chrome extension. I don't know if there is an equivalent in Firefox and the likes. But basically it will give you something much closer to your actual React native code. It's not exactly the same thing right here, core component, but already that's something you can read, right? So that's one step in the right direction. React Native for web has actually, like I said, started probably a few months ago, maybe last year, I don't know, but this guy, Nicolas Gallagher, who's known mostly because, as far as I know, he is one of the founder of, one of the creator of normalize.css. That should ring a bell for most of you, most of us. And he's working since 5 years at Twitter. And actually what they did at Twitter is they have created some apps. I don't know if it's in actual the mobile app, but this is what he says in the talk. And they would use React Native for web in there, but I don't have any inside information there. And as you can see, there is a few contributors. So something worth checking out, but still very young. So I'm interested into that. I'm going to use it. I will help the community, something I normally don't do much, but I will. And I think that's one of the message Nicolas gave when he gave this talk at ReactConf in Feb this year. He was basically trying to get more enthusiasm around that. And I'm going to defend this position. Why? Because I personally believe that React Native comes with robustness. Where? Because out of the box, you get all the freebies of JavaScript. You got ES6, ES7, some of, not everything, but you can actually add them. So if you check out the slides later, or because I'm sure you're not going to sleep, you're going to go to the slide, and you're going to click there, and you will get some GitHub issue where someone actually explains how you can bring decorators and anything you want to your React Native app. And also, by extension, to your React Native for web. So there, you have another good reason why React Native is kind of a savior. No more excuses, right? You don't have to set up anything except execute a couple of commands, and you get away with no JavaScript fatigue. And that's awesome, right? Because I spent the last one year and few months using Marionette and Backbone, and then I was following with an eye the React environment, and I got into that. I was overwhelmed with so many useless stuff. And thanks to that, you can actually introduce to this, it's not useless actually, but you can get introduced to that much smoother. All right, and finally, you have one of the main reasons a lot of people and why the community is so large. It's because you have a turnkey solution. Like I said, you just install it. You run, or nowadays you can even just do React-native run iOS. You don't even have to launch Xcode or anything, and you get your app live, assuming you don't have any native issues. Another reason why React Native for web is amazing is because it inherits from the opinion the React Native creator have made, among which you have the CSS in JavaScript architecture, okay? So few years ago, with the introduction of Angular, we started to see more HTML inside or JavaScript. And I didn't see that coming, but then we got the CSS inside the JavaScript as well. And I think that's the way to go. So you don't really need to I would say, juggle with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript anymore, or much less. Then you have to use Flexbox, all right? You have to. And it's been a cool thing around. Like I started to see that it was still heavily under specification, and like it was maybe 5 years or 4 years ago, and some of it started to get into the browser in like Chrome, obviously, but it wasn't really there, and people were not really feeling confident into using it. But now with React Native, you have to. And why? You feel good about it because basically someone smarter than you told you it's good to use it, right? His name is, actually I forgot his name, but some guy at Facebook. Smarter than me, I should have said. Sorry guys, maybe you're smarter than him, but I'm not smart, oh, whatever. I wanted to show some respect. Right, so basically Flexbox are good. Obviously it's good within a control environment, so that's why for React Native it's amazing. In the web, you still have to deal with maybe all the browsers, or yeah, you know the deal. Now, it attempts at following all the web specifications. So if you check out the documentation of React Native, you can see how many. There is a number of polyfill, like geolocation, sorry, and maybe device motion, or maybe not this one. But you have a few polyfill there, And what it means is, for web developers like me, it's very convenient because the learning curve, well, there is no learning. It's already usable, I meant. And finally, it's extendable, right? I think we just got to talk about it, and we have seen how much it is made for everyone to grow. Okay, so there is this story about the video component that hasn't been merged inside the repo. I mean, who cares? There is actually a group of people, or maybe multiple groups, the community, the React Native community something, some sort of a Lord of the Ring reference. Yes, yeah, that's a React Native fellowship or something. I don't know if there is any ring, but they actually produce a number of a repo you can trust, a number of React Native extension, and like Jeremy has just shown us, some of these components are very well written. You can actually contribute and also fairly easily get them into your app. So something that we haven't seen today, it's the command or npm that allows you to actually automate the installation of a native component inside your app. And thanks to that, you can still ignore and keep your head under the sand and ignore any kind of Java, Swift, Objective-C for a while. And actually it reminds me how painful it was to get into Cordova sometime, because you were missing this, I don't know, ability to have just WebSocket on iOS during a while. So you could not push data from the server to the client. Well, someone in the community has created a plugin, and here you go. You can use it. No native. That was great. All right, so you have a clear abstraction. I think that's the bridge. And finally, you have all the webbish tool suite. So inspect, debug, the console. I think you can spy on the network, but I'm not sure because I haven't tried that. But you'll get all of that out of the box with obviously React Native, but that's even more obvious with React Native Web. I'm just gonna drink. Okay, so the way I see it, oh merde, it's not interesting enough. Come back! I will be better. Shit. All right. See, I'm right now. I'm getting all emotional. Okay, so React Native, in my opinion, is more of a platform. Right? It comes with a lot of opinion, like you must use React, even though I think I've seen some Angular 2/React stuff, but I suppose it's better to use the React to manage your components. And from this list of qualities, so robustness, opinionated, and extendable, you have actually the confidence to go to the next step. And for me, we have already these two guys well covered, although Android could use more help, but that's fine. And we are about to get Windows Universal, or Universal Windows. So basically on your device, whatever it is, maybe a phone or a tablet or whatever. And thanks to React Native for web, you can actually reuse some, if not most, of your React Native knowledge onto any browsers. So it's basically bridging the gap that React Native has created from the mobile to the web. And why does it fill this gap? Because it provides the same thing again. CSS in JavaScript architecture, code sharing, all right? It's actually the most interesting part of it, because even though we keep listening to this warning, like warning, all your code might not be reusable onto Android, that's true. But last time I checked, I think one guy from the Facebook team said that 85% of their code base was shared across Android and iOS. So what I'm thinking is maybe we are not at 100%, and we will certainly never be there, but we will get to the 99%. And you have all the web, I would say, almost it's a duty to make your app accessible. So React Native for Web cares about that. I don't, but that's maybe because I don't need that just yet. And universal rendering, so you can render your app from the server. I think that's, that comes from the nature of React. All right. So with all of that, what you can start doing in your mind is to come up with some cunning plan. So let me tell you another story. It's actually happening at Style Atlas right now. We have a few apps to build. One of them is called Scope, and that's actually the app I mentioned earlier that will eventually allow you to scan your body at your place, all right? And then you can actually have your measurements and shop online on any retailer and actually purchase items that supposedly will fit you the way they have been designed to. The thing is, we don't have yet all smartphones or tablets with a 3D depth sensor or 3D sensor. It's not yet there. Some of us have this tablet with the Intel R200 sensor, so we can maybe use it. But for us at Style Atlas, the problem is we cannot reach out for everyone around the world. And that's an issue, obviously, as a startup, we need to reach out for everyone, otherwise we will die. The company will die. Don't worry about me. So that should be, like we need to fix that, right? And the way we address this problem is because we have another alternative. We can actually, based on statistics, we can ask you maybe 5 or actually more measurements, but a minimum of, I think, 5 or 6. We are still working on the details. We can actually approximate your body shape. And for that, obviously, I don't need a native sensor. So what I'm thinking, and you might already have guessed, is I can start building a web app that can reach out for anyone, and I can easily embed in any retailer shopping website. And from there, I'm already operational. And on phase 2, once maybe in the iPhone 7, there is rumors around that, maybe there will be a depth sensor inside the iPhone 7, then I will have the ability to maybe reuse all or most of my code, right? And I will obviously add on top of that the scanning capability. So that's the cunning plan. It's to go from web to native, or vice versa. You have already a native app. Well, you can actually try it on the web using React Native for Web. And finally, something that you could not use with React Native, at least for now, it's some very nice tools. And one of them, it's just a few weeks old, like maybe 2 months now. Sorry. It's called React Storybook. It's a very convenient way to design your component outside of your app. And the problem, obviously, is you cannot use that with React Native. Well, with React Native for Web, since you can get your component working inside the browser, you can use React Native, React Storybook. Okay, so when I started to check out React Native for Web, I faced an issue. Again, the JavaScript fatigue was there. Why? Because even though the small group has made some incredible progress, especially Nicolas, the problem is there was no way to quickly start a new project and challenge this solution. So what I did is I've just created recently a React Native web starter. You can all check out on GitHub. Again, it's a link. And that should be, but the aim basically is to provide the bare minimum. Okay, no funky stuff, no React storybook. We might create a branch with that, but I really want the minimum for everyone to test out. And plus, I try to follow, since I'm coming from React Native and not React for web, I try to stick with the React Native folder architecture. So here, as you can see, I'm gonna go there for you guys. It's pretty much what you would get in a React Native app, right? You have your index.web.js, I would say as opposed to iOS and Android. That's your entry point. And you get the web folder, the same way you would get your iOS and Android one, where normally you would drop whatever is web specific. So for now it's very lean, just a webpack config and index.html. And here, so that's where I made a bit of a choice. I've dropped my app there. Okay, so that's maybe something we need to discuss. But I reckon checking out a lot of app online, it's a very common pattern. And here finally you get your app.js, which is the wrapper of your app. And this is your index.web.js. Okay, so that's going to be hard to make it simpler. Oh, sorry, something happened. The demo daemon. Nice. Something is not behaving as expecting. All right, let's try another alternative. Ah, that was the demo actually. That's why. I tried to avoid it. All right. All right, so that's where I'm going to hopefully not improvise too much. Let's try. So how can I do that? Hello. All right. So we are all tired, right? I'm already trying to find some excuses. Oh. Okay, so here I just have a demo native folder. It's a standard React Native folder. And what I'm gonna do is go to my React Native starter and follow the instruction, okay, to install that. Let's zoom in. Yep, very simple. You just clone your repo. The project is gonna be named demo web. Odo. Yep. And then, oh, we don't need to do that. Just npm install.
While we're waiting, because this takes a while, so this is a message to you, Alex, from Damien. He's the guy that walked out on you before.
Okay.
Sorry, Alex, I had to leave early, so we did hear you as you walked out.
I don't want to hear anymore.
Talk was good, and saw that it was being recorded, so I look forward to seeing the thing on the website.
Okay. I love you. Yeah, we have a bit of time, so yeah. It was good the last episode of Game of Thrones, right? Maybe not this week, but the week before.
Can I ask if there's any questions so far?
Yeah, any questions so far? Yes?
So what do you think React and React Native?
Okay.
I think that React is more mature than React Native, and I don't know what's the point they want to extend React Native to the web, and I really don't feel comfortable to use CSS for big projects because when you're starting writing CSS in JavaScript, just get things at the end. So I really don't know what's the point and how that could be powerful at the end. If you want to compare with React, so we have React and we have React Native.
I got you.
Different purposes.
That's a fair question. So I think I need to rewrite this presentation. I was sure it was clear, but no, certainly you can do whatever you want with React. But React, firstly, is just a library to help you build your views, right? So this is all it does, as far as I know. You have a router now as well, or something like that. So React is hardly comparable to React Native, firstly. It's not the same thing. If you want to compare React and React Native, you need to add a few things around your React folder. So you need, you need all sort of a build layer and many other things. And the React Native for web project is trying to go not from like the starting point is React Native, so it carries all this opinion that React Native has made, whereas React, again, is a standalone library wandering in the void with other library like him, and you can pick it up, pick React and use it with your backbone project if you want to, or you can use Redux, obviously, whatever. See, that's they don't intend, like they don't answer the same needs. React, in my opinion, is not enough to build a web app.
What about with Redux?
Yeah, well, that's
Because definitely with React you can finish your project as soon as possible. But with Redux, like we are working on different project now. I feel that React with Redux is as equal as this one, but I think that one is more mature.
it is. Yes, there is no doubt about it. I'm not like. So what's the point again? Is to come from React Native, so you can use this component you get for free. So if I show you,
Yeah, I'd actually like to answer this one. So it's a very good question. Why is this a React Native meetup and not a React meetup? There's already a React meetup in Sydney. That's actually not the reason. I've done a lot of Angular the last few years and I love it. It's great. When I saw just this incredible rise of interest in React Native, not React. React is interesting. What React Native gives us is a way to think about targeting any platform. And I think if you forget that React came before React Native, and just have a view of app development just from the point of view of React Native, then you'll start to understand. So we had iOS as a target first, and then Android. Makes a lot of sense. Everybody saw that the Windows platform was coming. I don't think anybody saw that Tizen, the Samsung platform, was coming. Good luck to them if people want to use that. But the fact remains that there's no other game in town right now. If you want to target all those platforms with a code base where you've got, they claim up to 80% reusable code, there's no other game in town. So when you think, well, there's another target that's missing in React Native, and that's the web, this really answers that as well. So I think it's the way to understand it is, yeah, forget that you can just pick up React, the web framework, and target web apps. If you find that you want to take your React app and target other platforms, then React Native is obviously the place to go. But I think once you're there, once you're in the React Native point of view, then all those other targets just become just simply another target. So I encouraged Alex to talk about this topic because I think it's really important. It's early days, but as we see React Native, I think my prediction is it really will become a dominant platform for building any app. And then, there'll be, maybe in 12 months or so, there'll be a compelling reason to start a new web app within React Native, right? Because if you do that, you've just got choices about where you want to deploy next. So that's my answer to that question.
Thanks, John. I just want to add that it's certainly not for everyone to use just yet. Okay, so you understood it very well. It's not as mature anyway than React, but also, so actually, before I came to choose React Native for web, I was looking for a React starter, like a React project, and it came up with hundreds of answers. You see, it's like the Wild West. And I don't feel comfortable with that because I can challenge any of these like GitHub repo and ask the same question as you did. How mature it is, how much the group will stick together and maintain it, right? So what I would suggest is if you don't feel comfortable, please just keep an eye on it, all right? And maybe in 6 months from now, it will be the right time to get started with it. But I suspect that it's not going to disappear. It's going to stick. Maybe it's not going to be this one, but some other React Native for web will spin with the same intention, the same tools. And eventually, we will see that we need more than just a library. We need a framework. We need a platform to build on top of. That's it. All right. So more question after the small demo. So here we have my demo web with my starter, and the only thing I need to do is the npm run dev. Yes, I'm already using that. Yeah. Where are you? What? No. Yeah. No, it's not that many. I've seen worse. All right. Here we go. So that's it. That's React Native for web. And now you get a lot of things for free. Here we go. So yeah, I go inside my app and say I want to add a touch event. So actually I'm gonna create my own button. And here we go. Oops. So yeah, you always have a dot. I think it's highlight. Here we go. Yeah. So see, that's the kind of thing you get with React Native. It seems silly maybe, but it's already something that helps. You can find some React library around that, I'm sure. Like I don't know, what's the name of the Google thing? Material design, yeah, you can find some material stuff. But you know what? There is a React Native material design package as well. Boom! You can use it. I'm not saying you can use it for the web, I need to try, but I'm pretty sure you can use some of them. Up and submit, whatever. I'm just gonna keep it empty. So I forgot to save this one. Here we go. Hey, hey, a mistake somewhere. Oh, what? Oh, sorry. What did you say? It's there. It's there. Yeah. Ah. No, it's there. Hold on. Ah, haha. It doesn't like it. Yeah. Uh-huh. And that's why we all love React Native, because we get some nice message. So here I'm just adding my CSS. It requires the background color. Well, yeah, it does, but it doesn't in React Native. Here we go. So here you get all the stuff from React Native, obviously. I think that's no magic, but okay, so that's my my web app. I'm just gonna change the color of the text. Text color white. That should be good. Voila. And finally, so yeah, we have a native app. Oh, sorry. A native web app. That's weird. It's a web app. I'm gonna. I will say it. So here, now, I'm going to go inside the demo. So where was that? Hey, I think it's experimentation, React, demo, and demo native. And I'm going to run the native app. So here I try to demo how you can share code, but I'm gonna do that in a very quick and ugly manner. So firstly, I'm going to do React Native run iOS. And in the meantime, I'm going to actually change all of that. Not all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you. I'm going again in my workspace. I'm gonna do that. So here I'm in my demo web, and what I'm doing is a very simple copy app, okay? And I'm going to copy that inside my native folder. So it's demo native. Here we go. So now inside this one I should see the app. Yeah, here it is. So it's not yet the one that is used by the simulator, because it's still using the app you get by default. So I'm getting rid of all of that. Just keeping the app registry, and I'm going to import my app from my app.component Oops. Up. And I need to use it, obviously. And here I didn't do the live reload. And here we go. I have my native app. That was a simpler demo, but I'm gonna stop there, I think. So obviously, many things need to be improved, like the CP is not a reliable manner to share code. I tried to do a link, but it doesn't work, and I stuck on that for a few hours. So I've seen some people trying to share code using a sync folder. I still think it's an ugly solution, but I think the issue comes down from NPM or Webpack. So if any of you have any idea how I can share this app folder between my two repo, basically, that would be fantastic. That's it for me. Before I say bye-bye, I'm going to finish up with that. So that was a demo. So there is some challenges. Like Jeremy mentioned that the React native API are evolving a lot. Like every 2 weeks, you have a new version, but obviously not everything is garbage. So you still need to keep up with the API changes. And another thing is, what about performances? Because we are back inside the browser, right? So even though on iOS now it's fantastic, the JavaScript performances, you might still want to support Android version 4.1 or 4.2. That would be a challenge, but you need to do that. So maybe the solution might be Web Worker. Web Worker might be the way to get some, basically create something equivalent to React Native, where basically your JavaScript doesn't spoil with your UI thread. So I have little understanding and knowledge around web workers, but it seems to be the threading solution we miss in the web. And finally, what about Navigator? So I actually love Navigator, the one of React Native. You need to be careful with the performances because it's actually an array, a stack. So every time you push a new view, it goes on top of each other. So you need to push and pop, right? But it's very good. You can get started very quickly, and you get all this nice iOS animation for free. So actually, I'd love to get a Navigator equivalent onto React Native for web with the routing, obviously. And there might be already some solution out there to address this challenge. So here I have a few resources. Like I said, it's still a young initiative, a few months old. So yeah, that might become more and more. And do you have any questions? Yes? Maybe someone else first, and then you. Please, more questions from someone else?
Hi. Yeah, like her, I think I was a bit concerned about that React and React Native way of handling how we build UI, and I was just wanting for you to confirm that it's not to build websites. It would just to build a reusable component that would work across devices.
So you can do that, yes, but
just a component.
No. So actually, the answer is not just to do that. You can do that and also web app, or I mean, probably website, but that would be weird.
So in the case when you build a web app,
yes,
the browser has a really wide range of screen sizes, say.
Yeah.
Like how would you handle that on a?
So there is a React responsive package. Oh, by the way, it's on npm. I mean, you can use any npm packages. So if you know React, for example, just earlier today I was using React Spinner or SpinKit, and that's very easy to add into your project. To deal with responsive, that's exactly like in the web. So you will need to set up some sort of mechanism, basically like media queries, where you check the size of the screen. But just remember, it's Flexbox, right? So very easily you can already get some very nice responsive. I mean, you cannot stretch too much because you still need to deal, like you said, maybe with different layouts, but you can address it.
But Flexbox doesn't work in IE, so and the audit references.
It doesn't work in
Does
IE?
it abstract Flexbox, or does it actually use render?
There might be a polyfill, but yeah, I don't know the details of it. But here you can see that it supports. I haven't tried IE. I'm guilty. Yeah. But it's supposedly supporting IE 10 and Edge.
Hi, it was very good talk. So just like I want to ask us, it seems like it's very easy to migrate from the web app to the native app. So if I already built a React Native app, is it easy to migrate to a web app as well?
Yeah. So it depends again. Similarly to the problem you would face with developing an app on iOS and then trying it on Android. If you try it late in your flow, you will discover a lot of issues. So I would recommend, like, you can try, but I suppose you will have some issues to deal with. No worries. Anyone else?
So basically, can you have a shared component, like you have a native web component? Can you share it with your native, or you need to do it from
The native components?
the web?
So
Like
you go from native to
start
web?
doing native web, but you want to share your component for your app, for mobile app.
Or mobile?
Can you share it, or you need to just
If you use some API that are exclusively native, you won't, obviously. For example, the coder thing will not work. You will need to write another component. But I think it goes with the fact that even though React Native is trying to provide one solution to serve everyone, you don't have really that just yet. Right? You still need to develop, for example, if I want to use the order component on Android, I will need to add an Android specific bridge, and same thing for web.
and the layout will be different. The one that you want to display in the web and the browser definitely.
No, so that's the thing that will be very similar. So most of the layouts, most of the UI might be reusable.
So we can use it for Kafka as well.
Yes, yeah, it's web, it's everything. Even use a React Native for web, inject it in a React Native web view, and that would be
I'm not against it.
that would be a waste.
Hello. If the app has multiple pages, so do you use a UI Navigator component or use something like the React router?
Yeah, I think you would, for now, you would use the React router or Redux, something, the kind of router you will find in the web. That's the only thing I can think of. You don't have yet, so actually if I show you quickly the API, what it does, you have these components provided so far. So it's not the full list, obviously, and you have these APIs. That's what you get for now, right? So you don't have here navigator. Does that help? Cool.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's give Alex a round of applause.